Hi and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you 7 simple homeschool systems that will make homeschool life so much easier and so much better. So if you enjoy this type of content, please remember to subscribe and let's get into it. All right, so I want to start off by saying that I am not consistently good at using every single one of these systems. Okay, that would be amazing if I was, but it's hard to use all of them all the time. Like, it's just very hard to be consistent about those types of things, and not all of them work the best at certain times and seasons, and stuff has to change. And so I try to do my very best, but I don't want you to listen to this thinking, oh my gosh, she's amazing, she does all these systems, no wonder her life just like homeschool seems so perfect. It's not. Okay, it's not perfect. We have lots of struggles. Things don't always work perfectly, but the idea of these things and having bits and pieces of them throughout our whole day and through our weeks makes a huge difference. And when I take time to do some of these things, because some of them do require me to sit down and like plan and stuff, then I can see the difference it makes. Okay, it is worth it, but I don't always make the time to do it. So just so you know, it's okay if you can't do all of them. Maybe just implementing a few things will make a big difference, and then you can do a few more. Or maybe you have other systems you could share with us down in the comments that you like to use that work really well for you in your homeschool, and they could be helpful for everyone else watching. So let's get into these 7 things. The first one is to have drawers for schoolwork or some sort of storage system. So we have the Alex drawers, I think is what they are, from IKEA. We've had them for years, and I just have like the desk height ones. And that's what my kids have used for their schoolwork. There's not schoolwork in every single drawer because there's 5 drawers. The bottom 2 are usually kind of their junk drawers. So if they do projects, or if they have extra books they want to keep down there, or things they're working on like downstairs specifically, they can put it in those drawers. Okay, just kind of miscellaneous things or whatever, and we clean them out every once in a while. But the top 3 drawers have their schoolwork, and depending on what they're doing that year, kind of depends on how we divide it. Their group work doesn't go into those drawers. I keep all the group work stuff in our morning cart or morning basket, which I did a video on that recently, so I'll try to remember to link it. But in the drawers, it has stuff like their math, and then their language arts, and then sometimes it's a mix of things. So it might be handwriting or grammar if they have extra grammar they're working on. It might just be some extra books or things that are in there if they have other projects they're working on. Things like that might go in the other drawer. So that one, there's always one for math, there's always one for language arts, like for their Good and the Beautiful language arts books. But then the other drawer kind of comes and goes depending on if they have extra subjects they're working on or things like that. So that goes in that drawer. But it helps so much to keep things organized, and especially with younger kids, I could just tell them, if you want to organize the drawers in the way they do their schoolwork, you could do that, and that can help you. And this will lead into my next point as well, but it will help you as a mom, which we're gonna talk about in a minute. But you can just tell them, oh, go work through your drawers. Start at the top and go down. And so then you know what schoolwork they're working on, and so you can switch it, you know, depending on the school year. If you have kids that have schoolwork that needs more help or whatever, you can switch the drawers around. You could also do this with some sort of filing system. It's harder because, you know, when they have big books, putting them in some sort of filing system is difficult. But put down in the comments, what are some ways that you like to keep kids' schoolwork organized, but also so they can work through it in kind of an organized manner, or keep things, you know, together and know what they're supposed to be working on, because I'm sure that'd be helpful for a lot of people. Not everyone's gonna have room to have drawers for every child, and I still don't know what exactly we're gonna do when my 2 younger kids are old enough to do school stuff, if we'll get more drawers or what. I haven't figured that out. You could even use a bookcase, right? If you have a bookcase that has different sections, you could have each section for a child or something and have all their stuff there. So that could also be an option, but having some sort of system to organize schoolwork. The second system would be mom's help. Like, how does it look in your homeschool for you to help each child? And this is why I said it kind of goes along with the drawers. If you wanted to organize them, maybe you have a child that needs a lot of your help. So you want to put subjects for other kids that they can do independently for a while, so you can work with the child that needs the most help. And so they know, okay, I'm working on my independent subjects first and go through that. And so that could be one idea. I know some people have very strict ways they do mom help in their homeschool. Some of them it's more lax. I usually kind of fall in the middle. I've never been like strictly, okay, you get 20 minutes of mom's time, let's get through all the stuff you need mom's help with, and then I'm gonna go give 20 minutes to this child and 20 minutes to this child. That's just never worked well for us. I never really tried it that strictly, but I just feel like the flow of how our school goes, that just wouldn't work well. So what I like to personally do is tell them, so if I have a child that's like, oh mom, I need your help, I'll say, go work on your review. Sometimes they've already done their review, you know, whether it's their math review or their language arts review, because most of that stuff they can do by themselves. If they've already done that, then maybe have some games they could have out. If you have a younger child, maybe say, okay, go play with your brother or sister for a while so I can help everyone else and then I'll come help you. Or, you know, just have different suggestions like that of things that they can do. It doesn't have to be something you put a lot of thought into. Most of the time they have review that they need to work on. And this only is for when my kids are super young or aren't independent readers yet and need a lot of help. All my kids have some sort of like small parent section usually on their language arts they need help with, but that's fine if we kind of just let them go through all their schoolwork and then we work on it at the end. That usually goes pretty well. So find something that works for you. If you need a strict time, then do that. Maybe if you have an older child that is done or is working on their schoolwork later in the day and has a gap of time or something, ask them if they can help read to this other child so that they can get through more of their schoolwork, right? So sometimes that's happened. Oh, can you read this to your sister so she knows what she's supposed to do next? So things like that. And sometimes it's just chaos and me just being like, oh, I just need to read this real quick so they know what to do, and then I'll come back to you. And so find something that kind of works best for everybody, that keeps everything flowing, because that's the goal, is to keep everybody kind of moving through their schoolwork. And it's gonna have to change a lot because kids change a lot. They go through different stages very quickly and stuff, so you're gonna have to change it, but having some sort of idea of how you want to work it is very helpful. The next system is setting up chores, okay? As a homeschool mom, I cannot do everything. As much as my kids and my husband think I can. My husband is great, okay? He's never like expecting me to do all these things. He's very sweet about it, but I just put that kind of on myself that I can get everything done because that's what I'm supposed to do, right? And I think just my personality lends itself to that. But having a system for chores is so helpful. It's helpful for me because again, I can't get everything done. And it's also just helpful for my kids to learn responsibility. And to learn that like when you're part of a group, whether it's a family group, a work group, a community group, any of those groups, like you're working together despite your differences, okay? And you have a lot of things that you have in common as well. We can all work together, we can get through all these things, we can do chores together, and it makes our life so much easier when we do. So for a long time, we just had morning chores, and they would get up in the morning, do a few things like piano, breakfast, you know, get dressed or whatever, and then they would do their chore. And sometimes I rotate them around, sometimes I don't. So we always run the dishwasher at night. So in the morning it needs to be unloaded. So one of the kids will have that. Sometimes it's just wiping out their bathroom sinks because they like to get toothpaste everywhere. And so they'll go do that. Someone has that job. One of them cleans the cabinets once a week, like the fronts of the cabinets. And my boys alternate taking out trashes, not the main trash like in the kitchen, but all the other trashes throughout the house. So like Mondays and Thursdays, usually they'll take out all the little trashes everywhere because that's when a good time like to split the week when they're full and stuff. So they do that. So there's different chores like that that are assigned in the morning. They know what they are, they know to do them. Sometimes they have to be reminded, but they do a pretty good job about getting their chore done. And if you ask them, they're like, oh, no, I haven't, I'll go do it, and stuff like that. So it's just been recently, like maybe just this year, not this school year, but like this calendar year, that I started doing chores after dinner. We just didn't always have a whole lot of stuff to do. You know, there was dinner prep, maybe they could have helped with, but we don't set the table, you know, it's not like fancy or anything like that. So I couldn't give them those kind of jobs. Oh, come set the table. And so I'm like, what kind of jobs could I do that would make after dinner easier, especially now that we have 2 little kids, we're trying to get ready for bed. When we're done with dinner, like they're ready for bed and they're tired. Okay, and we're ready for them to go to bed and stuff like that. And so this is all about like 6 o'clock or 6:30 usually, depending. We try to eat dinner around 5:30. Lately, it's especially with playing outside still while it's nice weather and sunny out, you know, like light out is what I mean. Since there's still light outside, we play outside a lot more. And so dinner usually is between 5:30 and 6 most nights. And so they'll do, this rotates between just my 4 oldest kids right now. My toddler wants to help. So sometimes we let him spray the chairs and clean them, but one of them's wipe counters. So that's one of the last jobs that gets done. And then wiping the stove. So taking the grates off the stove, cleaning around the burners, and then cleaning out the sink. So even though we put a lot of stuff in the dishwasher, but there's also just a lot of things that can't go in the dishwasher, or they're just so big we'd be running the dishwasher like 5 times a day. So, you know, bowls and like huge mixing bowls or big pans, things like that, that get piled in the one side of the sink. So they have the job of emptying the sink so it's ready for some more dishes, for all the dinner dishes to be put in there. And so we have someone that does that, and then someone puts away dinner. And so they'll just put it in all the Tupperware, make sure all the dirty dishes get put in the sink. And then my kids put away their own like personal dishes so that they use to eat dinner. They clean them off, they put them in the dishwasher. That is something they've been taught to do since they were super little. They clean their own dishes, they put them away. And so they do that. So it's mostly just like the big dishes or like cutting boards or pans or something that might have been dirty from us using for dinner. And so they put those things away, and it has been so helpful. It's only Monday through Thursday, just mostly because that gets them all through a full rotation of all the jobs. Once my other kids are bigger, that's why I had to have a lot of kids so we could just have them do all the chores. Not really, but it is convenient that way. And so once they do that, so Friday, Saturday, I'm always like, oh, I have to do all this. My husband helps because he's the one that cleans all the dishes usually after dinner that are in the sink. And so, or he'll help get the kids ready for bed. We kind of tag team on who's doing that with the 2 littlest kids. But anyways, so having some sort of system of chores that your kids do. And if they have like lots of sports and stuff that they're doing, figure out a schedule or a time that works for them. And it might change frequently. You might have to be like, okay, right after school is when you do your chores. Or maybe it has to be right after dinner when you do it. Or right before dinner, depending on what their schedules are all looking like. And so just kind of plan around that, but you shouldn't have to do everything by yourself, okay? It is not just, it's not your job to do everything by yourself. Okay, your kids should be helping you, your spouse should be helping you. It should be a whole family effort, like you work together as a team. And so having some sort of system where you shows that you're a team, like a sports team, if you want to pitch it that way to your kids, that they all get to work together and participate in this big family fun event of doing chores. The next system is planning. This is one that I think that I would be better at than I am. Probably because my brain just innately plans things anyway. And so I do have to write some things down, obviously, to remember them. But since my brain is so organized in the way it thinks, a lot of times I'm like, oh, I don't need to plan. But there's things that just go better if I do, because I can't keep everything organized in my head. It just doesn't work that way. My brain might explode. And so when I take some time to plan, this might look like for the month. It might look like for the whole school year. It might look like for 6 months. Maybe it's just for the quarter. However you decide to divide it up. You know, maybe you like to do an overview of the whole year and be like, this is what our travel plans are, or this is when we want breaks, or this is when public school has breaks, so we want our breaks planned around that, or whatever it is. And then you can go smaller each time. So I feel like if I sit down and plan for a few months at a time, whether it's for the quarter. Sometimes I still have to go back and plan for the second month of the quarter because I just don't know enough to get the second quarter planned, depending on how quickly we go through like group work curriculum the first month of that quarter. And so sometimes I have to come back and be like, okay, this is where we're at. What do we need to finish in this second month? And so when I sit down and do that, which I need to do, which is why I'm telling you, because I need to do it, everything goes so much smoother. Okay, I have a plan, I can look at the plan, and sometimes the plan does not go as planned. But for the most part, it usually does, and it makes life so much easier when I sit down and plan. So figure out a system that works well for you and sit down and plan how the month, the next quarter, the next 6 months, or the next year is gonna look. My fifth system is to have older kids help with younger kids, which I already sort of mentioned earlier. If you're having like mom help, try to have the kids help with that as well, so you don't have to do it all by yourself. But this is something that can work so well and takes a load off of you. And I didn't have this when my bigger kids were little, obviously, because I didn't have any older siblings to help them. But now, as some of them are getting older, I can ask them to help with the younger kids. Some of them, it's just helping with my second grader because reading is still a little difficult for her, so she can do a lot of the things if she knows what she's supposed to do. And so you just need to read her the instructions and she can do it. And so sometimes it's just like that, just as simple as that. Sometimes if one of them happens to get done with their schoolwork quickly that day, like their individual subjects, I'll have them watch the littler kids so that I can focus on everyone else without having to juggle all the little kids. And so just having your older kids involved, it's very good too for them to be able to teach younger kids and to have to think through those things, like how would I teach this, and practice their reading, right? If they're just reading something, they're reading it out loud to them, and so they can practice all those types of things. So have a system where if you have older kids that can help, let them help, or maybe assign them to help some of the younger kids. My sixth system is to have a morning and an evening routine. Again, this kind of ties into some things I've already mentioned. Chores are found in these two systems right here of morning and evening routine. And so have something that works well for your family. Again, if you're running all over with sports and stuff, you're gonna have to adjust. But I think it's important to adjust, to make sure that you're not cutting things out, that you're forgetting things that maybe certain kids that need to go to bed earlier, especially little kids, are getting to bed super late. Okay, you're gonna have to adjust your schedule and work something out. Figure out a system that will work or a routine that will now work for you. So our morning routine, I kind of already mentioned, is kids do piano, they eat breakfast, they do their chores, they get ready for the day, and then basically that's it. We're basically, brings us about to 9 o'clock. In the morning, they get out of bed at 7, and that brings us about to 9 o'clock. And so they will start their individual subjects, usually if I'm not ready to start group work, and they'll just start doing that by themselves. I don't have to tell them. They've done it for so many years. They just know if mom is not ready to start group work and they're all done with their other things, they should just grab their math or their language arts and start to work on it. And that's usually what they do. And then evening routine, we were talking about morning. Evening routine is similar as far as that they just know what to do after dinner now. They've gotten used to the evening chores, so they do their chores. We get ready for bed. Even my older kids get ready for bed unless they have some sort of church gathering thing they're supposed to be going to that evening, or we'll have some basketball practice coming soon where some of my bigger kids will have basketball practice. So unless they have those types of things, they're in their pajamas too. All of my kids are in bed by 7 or around 7, and the older kids can read until 9 and then lights out. And that has, again, how it's been since they were so little. Like I started putting my kids to bed at 7 when they were just a few months old. And so that has been their schedule for a really, really long time. So having some sort of system in place, it makes my life so much easier. I know what to expect. They know what to expect, and I know what time I can get. Obviously, some things might happen that throw a wrench in it here and there, but for the most part, I know at the end of the day that I will have a little bit of time of quiet when it's just me, and I can choose what to do with that time. And speaking of that time that I get at the end of the day, The seventh one is quiet time, like having some mom decompression time. Whether it's in the middle of the day when my littles are napping while my toddler, who's almost 3, is kind of phasing out, but he'll stay up in his room for a while and be quiet and stuff. So it still counts. And then the baby, she's 1, so she's not like a baby, but she's still the baby. She will take a nap and stuff. So I'll get some quiet time in the afternoon where my older kids can read, do activities. They get a certain amount of screen time they get to do during the week and stuff. So they might do that on a particular day. And so there's different things like that they are doing. And I mostly get time to just do what I want to do, or to film, or to edit stuff, or to read if I just want to read that day and have some quiet. I get to do that. And then also I get a little bit of quiet time in the evening once everyone's in bed. And then I can also work on things if I need to, or just completely decompress. I don't even have to do anything at all. I can just read or just watch something and just totally be mindless. It's totally fine after my brain is fried from all day. So have some sort of quiet time into your schedule, because you need it as a mom. You need time where it's just you time, and it's okay to tell your kids, like, leave me alone, it's just me time. Okay, mom also needs some time to recuperate and to be a better mom so that I can come back and be ready to go through the dinner rush. Okay, I need a little bit of time in the afternoon so that I am ready for dinner and bedtime, because that is a beast of a time of the day. So let your kids know, be honest with them about it. You don't have to be mean like me. I'm kind of mean sometimes about it, but you don't have to be mean about it. But just let them know that you have needs too. I think that's important for kids to understand, that you are a human and you have needs. And so let them know those things. All right, so those are some of my simple homeschool systems that I like to use to help me make it through my days and weeks and years. And so if you have systems that work really well for your family, put them down in the comments, because I'd love to know. And I'm all about systems being like as organized and efficient as possible. So let me know what you do, and I'm sure it'll be helpful for everybody else as well. And remember to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.